Hey guys, and welcome to the Lazy Lemon Creations podcast. My name is Lindsay. You can find me on Instagram as Lazy Lemon Creations, and you can find me on Ravelry as Lazy Lemon. This is my podcast all about my knitting, crochet, crafty things that I get into. So, let's get into it. I live in the heart of the New River Valley with my husband and our 2 kids. Everybody is upstairs right now, so I am getting an episode in under our belt today. It is Friday, July 24th, 2026, and it is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So this will be up maybe this afternoon, maybe tomorrow morning, not sure, but sometime soon. And yeah, it is a very cold and rainy day today. Like, I looked outside this morning and it was like the epitome of fall, with really foggy and like the wind was blowing in the trees, and so like I have my cardigan on today and just nice warm cozy day on this Good Friday. Well, it is a Good Friday, not Good Friday, but let's get into it. I have one finished object and a couple of whips to show you guys. So first things first will be my finished object. It's a pair of socks. Here we go. This was the second sock. Nope. This was the second sock. This was the first sock. There we go. But yeah, there is the pair, both of them together. This pair of socks, this colorway here, is from Knit Picks Felici in the Bayou colorway, and it is a 75-25 fingering weight yarn. For my socks, I do 64 stitches on magic loop. I typically do a 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. I do a 20 round 2x2 ribbed cuff. Did I drop a stitch there? No, I literally picked up underneath it, so that's 2 together. Well, it's in the cuff. It's no big deal, and it doesn't mess with the integrity of the sock. It's just an interesting little add-on. Okay then. Little mistake. Nobody can tell. Right there. Oh well. I do a 20 row cuff, I do a 30 row leg, I do a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, my foot, and then my toe. Yeah, these socks were on the needles for a very long time. I believe I started them in April, I want to say. Hold on, I have my notebook here that says, yeah. I started those at the very end of April, April 29th, and I finished those last week on the 18th. So those were on the hook for like 3 months, May, June, and July, but they're done and ready to go. So that is my one and only FO that I have today. Next is a whole bunch of whips, and let's start with the knitting whip, because I don't know what to do about it. I do know what to do about it, I just don't want to do what I have to do. That's a better way of saying this. So what I have here, this is in a project bag that Tamara from Caffeinated Craft Mama made and sent me. Well, I want to say it is the Akatar bag. Yeah, everything on here is Akatar related. I was going to say that it is a Sarah J. Maas bag, but everything that's on here is Akatar related. So it is in my Akatar bag here that I have. What this is the Cottage Hearts sock pattern from Kayla Litton of The Crazy Sock Lady. And I decided that since I have never done color work before, that I was going to do a test run before I used the intended yarn for that pattern for my sister socks. So I did. I went ahead and, well, what I have going on here, I'll explain. So first, let me show you the work I did. So that is the color work, and I've got the hearts down at the bottom too, but like that is the color work that I was doing, and it is on both sides of the sock. And I am very happy with the color work on this. Like, for me, the socks could get over my heel tightly, but they could get over my heel knitting on a 1.5 64 stitch repeat of this pattern. So I decided to ask my sisters, hey, you know, I know that your foot size, like your actual shoe size, is bigger than mine, but do me a quick favor, measure your heel. And both of my sisters, even though both of them are younger than me, both of them have a bigger heel section, instep, no. Anyway, the part of their heel to their ankle is much bigger than mine. Well, I should say much bigger. It's bigger. And so with this barely getting over my heel comfortably in order to be able to wear the sock, I know it's not going to go over theirs. So what I need to do is I have taken the needles out of the top of the sock. Here, I just pulled them out. And I have started them back at the bottom down here. And what I am going to do is, I'm not tinking for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and pull all of this out. And I'm going to try it again. But when it comes to the color work section, I am going to increase by a half needle size and see if that helps. If it doesn't help, I might go up to 72 stitches, and these would then just be really cozy, like winter socks and not meant for like everyday wear. And I might do that anyway and just have the socks be big initially. So I'm debating on whether or not to just bite the bullet and go up to the 72 stitches, or if I should increase just the color work section with a different needle. And I know what I want to do, and I don't think either one of my sisters, because their foot is bigger than mine in both senses of the word, I don't think that it's going to be an issue to go up to the 72 stitches. It would just be on my sock, which if that's the case, I know that I can get 64 stitches over my heel. So I might just do theirs as the 72 stitches. You know what? I just decided that. So I did my test work for, well, I should hold it the right way. Look at me. Like I've never done this before. Goodness. So yeah, I just made that decision. I am going to go up a size for my sisters, and I'm going to stay at 64 stitches for me. And there we go. Problem solved. But this was my test knit, and the yarn that I am using is some bare yarn from Nomad. And this color, which is, I had to look it up because I remember when I had bought it back in 2023. This yarn is from Nanette Wake's Studio, and it is called Prune Hill. I ended up getting this color with a brown, and it was like brown bear or something like that, or bear brown. Anyway, I caked this up and have had it caked up for a while, and I was just going to do a solid pair of socks, but I figured that it was the perfect way to test my color work theory, not my theory, the color work practice stitches before casting on the official yarn. But that is what I have been working on. I've been back and forth with what to do on that, and I don't want to mess up my yarny snowman that I have here. This is from Mama Jess Knits. It is the summer sock colorways, and it's just so cute, and I don't want to cast on the socks if I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of ripping and stuff like that. So that is what I have been knitting. So then let's jump in to the crochet that I've been doing. So for my crochet, I had a friend who wanted to learn how to increase her crochet abilities. She knew how to do just some slip stitches and some chaining, and she grasped the concept of a single crochet, but she wanted to like learn what the stitches are, like a granny stitch and everything else. So we went to Michael's, we got some yarn, and I was teaching her how to do a double crochet. And I originally started with a granny square because it's nothing but double crochets. And with this yarn that I'm about to show you, I didn't want a granny square blanket, which is a shocker because I love the granny square blanket. I wanted to do something else, which is double crochet, but I'll show you in a minute. Anyway, the yarn, before I show you what the blanket is going to be, is a Karen Blossom Cake in the colorway Shadow. And this yarn, do y'all want to see the yarn first or what I'm making out of it? Well, you can't tell me. So this is the yarn. Shadow is 100% the perfect name for this. And I love how tonal this gray is. So that is the yarn. And what I decided to do was start up a from the center waffle stitch blanket. And I love the texture of this. It's so nice and thick. And then that's what the back looks like. So the waffle stitch pattern is free on Ravelry by Button Nose Crochet, but it is double crochets into stitches, and then it's also front post double crochets, and that's what makes like the grid design for the waffle. And I have to say, I love the feel of this. I have another waffle blanket that is in my waffle color that I have back here down below hiding. Hasn't been worked on in a while. Whoops-a-daisy. So should I have casted on another waffle blanket? Probably not. Did I do so anyway and don't care about the consequences? Absolutely. So this is just what I work on when that friend comes over or I go over to her place and we want to crochet together, and this is the project I take to work with her. And I am crocheting it using a 5mm crochet hook. My Furls crochet hook, that's what I'm using. I don't know if that's gonna stay zoomed, but it is a 5mm. It is an H. This is the crochet hook that I'm using for this one. I just think the red contrasts really well with that shadow color. It's just gorgeous. I love it so much. But that is what I am working on here and there, just as I see fit. I started that blanket on the 18th, and so it has not gotten a lot of love, which is okay. It doesn't need all the attention. It does not have a due date. It is just for funsies, and that's that. And the next crochet project that I have been working on, because I have another one, is a corner to corner crochet. It's going to be a baby blanket. Well, it's going to be for a baby. I don't know if I'm going to make it baby size, but it's going to be a baby blanket. And what I have is, it's how I do my gingham blankets, but this one isn't going to be the gingham pattern just because of the colors chosen, and that's okay. So what I have so far is this. It's going to be a baby blanket. It stops right there at the brown. So I've got 2 repeats going up. So I've got 6 blocks going up and I've got 4 blocks going out. I'm filling it in now with the blue, and then I'll fill it in again with the brown. And this is what I have been working on just in the past 2 days. Yes, I have done all of this in 2 days. I started this on Wednesday and today is Friday. There we go. Now you can see all. That's how wide I have it right now. I don't know if I'm stopping at 6 blocks across or if I'm going to continue it out to 9. We'll figure it out. I'll square it off and then see what I want to do from there. So for this blanket, let's talk about these 3 colors here that I have. So this one here is ivory. This one here is cinnamon. And this one here is soft blue. And so this blanket is being crocheted using a 5mm crochet hook. This one I'm actually using my Clover. And it is using yarn from Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn in those 3 colors. And like I said, I just cast this on Wednesday and it has been taking up my time. I finished with a book and started another one. And so while I've been reading, that's what I've been working on. But those are the crochet projects and the knitting project that I have been working on this past week. And now, before we get into life, what I want to do is spin the Felici wheel. I have finished the Bayou socks, and so now I want another pair of socks to work on while I contemplate the cottage hearts design, which I know what I'm gonna do, but I'm still thinking on it. So let's spin the Felici wheel. Okay, I have my spin the wheel up. So let's take a look here. Last thing we did was Bayou, and there's our big giant wheel. So let's spin and spin and spin. Santorini. Santorini, that one is blue. You know what? I am excited for that one. We will cast that on. So I will find that yarn and get it out and post that soon. But I'm excited for that one. That's nice. I like that one. I was kind of hoping for something like old, but that is fine with me. Santorini is okay. Now, let's get into reading and watching real quick. Watching, nothing. Just podcasts. Nothing too outlandish. But reading, I finished the full tandem read of Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, which is book 6 and 7 in the Throne of Glass series. And I highly recommend the tandem read for both of those books. In the book before that, you're already jumping POVs, and so it's not that hard to jump POVs in this series as well, in these 2 books as well. And if you're reading it on Kindle and you're reading it under the Throne of Glass book bundle, it is very easy to jump between the 2 books if you utilize the bookmark feature on the Kindle, which I actually have a video clip on how to do that. So yeah, it is not that hard to do if you're doing it in e-reader. If you're doing it audio, it's still easier than doing it in the physical book. The physical book would probably be the hardest way to jump back and forth between the 2, but it is 100% worth it in my opinion. And I didn't mind the Tower of Dawn book. Not my favorite, I will say that, but also not my least favorite so far of the series. And if you've read the Sarah J. Maas novels, one of the characters that people either love or hate is in this book, and I like him better than the other characters in her universes that you either love or hate, one of them being Nesta. I don't like Nesta, and I like Kale better than I like Nesta, so that's just a me thing. It is what it is. But yeah, both books, wonderful. And then I immediately got to go into Kingdom of Ash, which is the final book in the Throne of Glass series, and I'm already 16 chapters into it. I sat down and it jumps POVs and it has already made me cry already. And I am going to love the conclusion of this series. I'm excited to finally have Throne of Glass as a read series on my bookshelf. And then after that will be a reread of the ACOTAR series. And that is before I read Crescent City. All of this by Sarah J. Maas. And then one of the things that I am watching is the Fantasy Fangirls podcast. Their deep dives into the Kindred Curse saga by Pincol, the Spark of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, Heat of the Everflame, and Burn of the Everflame, which comes out in September. I am watching their episodes, and that is because it's been within a year of reading that series. It's still pretty fresh in my mind. So watching their podcast is my recap leading up to the release of Burn. So that's how I'm doing that. There's just so many books coming out that I don't have enough time in the day to get everything read that I want to read. Not yet, at least, but I'll get there. I've said a lot in this, and I'm sorry. I know better. I just don't do better. And in life, finally, to wrap us up, is everybody is doing well. Emrys has a lumbar puncture on Tuesday. If you're new here and have made it this far, wow, thank you. But anyway, he is our 6-year-old who has leukemia, and so that's why he has to have a lumbar puncture. And this is part of our routine chemotherapy treatment. And no, it's not nice. No, it's not easy, but it's what we have to do for the betterment of our son. And Tuesday is going to be a very long and very early day for us, or a very early and very long day for us. We have to be ready to go before the sun rises. So not looking forward to that. We all love our sleep here in this house, so early mornings are not typical for us, but hopefully we get the all clear from this lumbar puncture so that when school starts back in 2.5 weeks, then he gets the go ahead so that he can go into 1st grade. Alara will be going into 4th grade, and school is really starting to become school for her, and it's fun to see. But we went back to school shopping. We got all their school supplies. It has been so fun watching them get excited over that. They're just like me, and my hobby is collecting things. I collect yarn and pins and notebooks and all sorts of things to make crafts. It's just the doing the crafts that is the hard part, but it is okay. That is going to be the end of everything I have today. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful summer, and I will see you next week for another podcast episode. Bye.